Good afternoon, everybody. I hope you're having a fantastic day. Today, we are going to look at the ultimate PPC launch strategy. So this should be a really interesting video for you. I've got a little slideshow to just go over things like the key terms that you need to know if you're running a PPC campaign on Amazon. And basically a few little tips on what I think is a good idea. It's not obviously the only way, but it's a good way to get started. Before you do, make sure you subscribe, turn on the notifications wherever they may be, and of course, smash the like button when you like that sort of stuff. So let's get into it straight away. Let me share my screen. Let's play this slideshow. As you can see, high production quality here. But ultimate PPC launch strategy. So the first thing is, what is Amazon PPC? PPC stands for pay per click, and it's the advertising platform that Amazon use to, for you as sellers to be able to push your products to prospective customers. So when you search on Amazon and you search in watch stand, then you're going to get loads of organic listings. So that's the normal ones when you scroll down. But if you look at normally the top two listings, one's on the right hand side of the screen, and at the bottom, the last two listings, it'll normally say sponsored at the top of that listing, which means that those sellers are paying to be there, or they're paying for your attention. So that's what PPC is. It's a way to drive sales, especially if you are not ranked, that within the first kind of 1 to 3 positions on Amazon. So great for seasonal, great for launching, and just great for generating more sales. So this is one of the big things you need to know. I'm going to go into some key terms in a second, but let me just go over what an auto campaign is. So within PPC, and if you maybe think of this like Facebook or any other like Google PPC, normally you have to tell the platform, so in this case it's Amazon, exactly what keywords you want to target, how much you want to bid on those keywords. Again, don't worry if you don't understand what that means. And you give them all the information. Whereas what Amazon have done is they've made a really easy platform so that you can just literally press a button that says, turn on auto campaign, and they are going to go out, they're going to look at your listings. Amazon's algorithm will look at your listing, they'll look at your keywords, and they will then show your advert to people or customers that they think will like to buy it, and the people that they think will be searching for it. So they go and do that themselves. Now that is great for initially doing your product launch and getting your product on Amazon, because you don't really know what's going to convert to a sale. So that means what adverts will actually convert to a customer buying the product. You don't really know. You can guess, but you don't know. So an auto campaign is a great place to start, to tell Amazon to go and do its work, and then what you can do later on is gather all the information in what's called a search term report of all the search terms that were searched by the customers, the keyword that was used, how much it cost, how many times it was clicked, how many times it was seen, and if it's converted to any sales, and how much that sale was worth to you. So a really great way to start. The other thing you can do is something called a manual campaign. And this is more, this is basically once you have all that information. So once you have all of that information from the auto campaign, you can then go through and say, hey, well, those keywords, they're converting to sales, but these 10 words, they're actually costing me money and not making me any money. So what you can do is you can not include them in your manual campaign, which will save you money, which means you're only putting money on the winners, right? You're only putting money on the keywords that are actually making you money. And this is where you really want to end up. You want to basically have at least two campaigns running, one being your auto campaign, one being your manual, because you never know what keywords are going to come up. But the big difference between manual and auto, other than the obvious difference in how you set it up, is where your placements will show up. So on your manual campaign, your adverts only show up on the listing and on the search term or search term page on the top, the bottom, and the right hand side. They won't show up in someone else's listing. So if you go to Amazon right now, you click on someone's listing and you scroll down, it will say sponsored products related to this item, and there'll be adverts for other products that are similar. Manual campaigns, they do not show up in that place. Only auto campaigns show up in that place. So that's something really, really important to be aware of, because you will get a lot of sales through that particular feature that Amazon have, and you can only be shown up in those results if you have an auto campaign running. So that's super important, okay? So the manual campaign is where you eventually want to end up. So here are some of the key terms. Feel free to screenshot this. I'll read them out if it's a bit small. But these are the things you need to know, okay, before we move on. A bid. What is a bid? So this is something that most people will get wrong when they start out on any advertising platform, really. So a bid is the maximum amount that you're willing to pay for a click. So Amazon will suggest a bid for you. It'll say suggested bid between 89p and £1.30. That doesn't mean that you will always win the bid. So the way it works is just like eBay, okay? If you bid £5 for an item and then someone bids £6, they win the bid and they will be able to buy that product. Just replace buying the product for getting the click on Amazon. That's basically how it works. Something really important to remember is that just because you put a high bid on doesn't mean that you will always pay that high bid. So if you put your bid to £5, let's just say, per keyword or per click, doesn't mean you're going to spend £5 per click. It just means that you are willing to spend up to £5. So that's super important. Cost per click, or CPC, that is the actual amount you pay for a click. So after someone's clicked on your advert, you can go to your search term report and you can see how much a click actually costs you. And that's super important information you need to know. Your daily budget, so that's how much you're willing to spend in a day. So that might be £10, might be 50, might be 100, might be 1,000. It depends on how much return on investment you're getting. So these are the other two key words you really need to know. So there's broad match and exact match. Now there is one more, but we're just going to get into these two first of all. Broad match is, how do I explain this? So say for example, I search wooden watch stand. Okay, that's my search term that I searched into Google. Okay, now if my broad match keyword was watch, basically that keyword that I typed in, wooden watch stand, contains the word watch. So basically the search term contains this keyword. So if my broad match keyword is watch, then that advert might show up when me as a customer searches wooden watch stand. Does that make sense? Whereas exact match is, if I want to show up for that keyword, I would have to have my exact match keyword as wooden watch stand. So that would have to be my keyword and it would be exact match. So when a customer searches those exact words, that advert will show up. So those are the two differences. When you're doing your manual campaign, you get to choose between if something's a broad or an exact match. Now, for some keywords, you might want to do exact. For some other words, you might want to do broad. And eventually, over time, you're going to optimize that to make sure that you are only bidding on the keywords that are going to get you actually income. Okay, so that's super important. You then have the flip side to this, negative keywords. So let's say in our auto campaign, it's going through loads and loads of keywords, but we're noticing that one of the keywords it's searching for, or one of the keywords it's presenting to the customers, is not profitable. You're spending £30 a week or whatever it may be, £30 a day on this keyword, but it's not converting to a sale. We want to tell the auto campaign and Amazon to not show that keyword because it's not working for you. So what you can do is go into negative keywords and you can either do an exact match or a broad match, which basically means if a customer searches wooden watch stand as an exact match, then the advert will not show to them. Or alternatively, we can say for example, our watch stand is not wooden, it's metal. If you can put it, you can put it in a broad match of wooden, so that any search term within your auto campaign that contains wooden, your advert is not going to show because you know that your product is metal and not wooden. So that's how you would kind of use those two negative keywords. But as you're optimizing, what you're going to do is you're going to get all your keywords together. You're going to eventually kind of hone down which ones are your best exact matches, ones that are your best broad keywords. Then you're going to keep bringing them down, get rid of some of them with negative keywords. You're going to put bids on for different amounts of bids for different words, and that's how you're going to optimize your PPC strategy going forward. But in this, basically, let me continue going through these keywords, and we'll talk about what you can do to launch. Okay, so it's really important you understand what those terms mean. The next one is impressions. So that's the amount of times your advert is shown. So that's the amount of times it literally is seen by a customer. The ACOS, or ACOS, is the percentage of sales, and it stands for average cost of sale. So it basically means the percentage of sales that you spent on advertising. It's calculated by dividing the total ad spend by attributed sales. So for example, let's say you spent £2 on PPC and you made £20 in sales, then your ACOS will be 10%. So you spent 10% of your revenue on advertising. Now this is super important when you're looking at your search term report. If you're looking at any of your advertising reports, the advertising data can be up to 24 hours delayed. So basically it takes up to 2 days to populate. So if I want to see how my advertising is doing today, I can't really see what's converted to a sale. It may take 1 to 2 days to actually look and see if those keywords turned into sales. So you have to run your advertising for a few days before you can actually get any sort of data back from it to make any informed decisions. So don't just change it every day, because you don't know what you're doing. The last thing is something called Bid Plus, which is only on manual campaigns. So on your auto campaign, you can't do this. On manual campaigns, you can. But what this will do is raise the bid up to 50% more than your default bid. So say your default bid is £1, it will raise up to £1.50 when your ads are eligible to show at the top of the search results. So that's, the listings at the very, very top, the 1 and 2 listings. So it's really quite good. It's ways that you can have a lower bid, but every now and again you can win the bid and get to the top of that search page. So take a screenshot of this, guys. If you get any questions, leave a comment down below. Those are the main ones that you need to know. So in order to generate sales, you do not need to be the highest bidder. Now, what does this actually mean? The highest bidder, they will always go at the top, okay? It basically goes first come, first, well, not first come, first serve. It's whoever pays the most gets to go highest. However, there are other places that you can be to generate sales. One of them is the bottom of the page, the second page, the sidebar, within the listing under the sponsored products, similar to this item. Or alternatively, after the highest bidder will go first. However, if that highest bidder, let's say their daily budget runs out at 3 p.m. because they're the highest bidder, they were getting all the clicks for the beginning of the day, but that highest bidder then runs out of daily budget, which means the next highest bidder will then go first, and you may be that next highest bidder. So just bear in mind that this will change throughout the day depending on when people are putting their bids in. You can even automate your advertising campaigns to come on and go off at different times. For example, the beginning and the end of the day are normally more profitable than the middle of the day. You normally have more sales. So that kind of, it makes sense to be the highest bidder at the beginning and the end of the day, depending on your product, that is. But that's always something to be aware of. So this is how to kickstart your launch, in my opinion. There are other ways, product launches in terms of giveaways and stuff like that, but this is a way that you can use. It's a way that other people use as well, and I'm just going to explain how you do it. Okay, so ensure you have a high converting listing first. What does that mean? Good pictures, good bullet points, good title, good reviews, lots of reviews as well. So you must have a high converting listing, because you don't want to do all this advertising for someone to click on your listing and then realize that they don't want to buy the product because it doesn't look professional. They click on other ones and they buy someone else's product. So you don't want that to happen. Make sure you have a high converting listing. The next thing is turn your auto campaign on. Do that as soon as you have a few reviews and again you have your listing sorted, so you can start gathering data from your keywords. The sooner you gather data, the better it's going to be in the future. But of course, there's no point gathering data unless you have a high converting listing. Set your maximum bid, or set a high maximum bid to boost your initial sales. So a technique that some people use, you don't have to use this because it will cost you more money, is that you set a high bid of like £3 or £4, something that means that you'll always win that bid for that particular keyword that you're looking to target. So you can do this on a manual campaign, or you can do it on the entirety of your auto campaign. However, I would maybe look at it, well, you can do both. If you set a high maximum bid, that means your advert for your product is going to be shown until your daily budget runs out. So you're going to be shown first, you're going to get loads of impressions, you might get loads of clicks, and hopefully get lots of sales. But that is the way to push your listing basically as quick as possible. Now, this is super important. This probably, in most cases will not be profitable for you. So your ACoS, your average cost of sale, will be over 100%, because you're getting that top position every single time. You're paying a premium to be put there, and unless you're converting to sales immediately, which you may not, then basically you'll be spending more money than you're making. However, this is a launch strategy. You're not going to do this forever, so just bear that in mind. I'm not saying to set a maximum bid very high for the entirety of time that you're on Amazon. It's just that you can do it to start with to boost some sales, and then to get as much keyword data as possible, and then you can optimize over time. So this will gather lots of keyword data, and that's what you really want. You then create more additional manual campaigns, and you keep optimizing until you find your most profitable keywords. You then exclude the keywords that are not profitable or cost you too much. So again, you might have a keyword, let's say you have a £100 budget for the day. I'm not saying go and do that, but let's say you do, and you have one keyword that's costing you £30 but has generated no sale. So that means that it's showing up on listings, people are clicking it, but they're not buying your product. So there's something up, maybe your listing's not converting very well, or it's just the wrong keyword for you. So in that scenario, you either have to look into re-optimizing your product page, or you just use that as a negative keyword, so you exclude that keyword from your advertising campaign, so you're not going to be spending that money on that keyword that's not profitable for you. That money in your budget will then be spent on words that are profitable for you, making you more sales. Optimize your campaign every few days once you have enough data to make informed decisions. So I'm thinking, 4 or 5 days minimum, because it takes about 48 hours to actually get the data back from Amazon. So if you do it every 2 days and you optimize, you don't actually have any data to go off. You're just kind of guessing. So make sure you have a few days worth of data so that you can actually make informed decisions. Eventually, over time, if you do this, every 4 days, every week, you will eventually have a winning ad set. And you have to keep monitoring, but that's when you can basically increase your budget. And as long as it's profitable, then you can increase your rank with it as well. And you can rank for multiple keywords. Continue to run auto and manual campaigns side by side. Just that means that, again, you can optimize both. You can use negative keywords on your auto campaign, so you're not spending loads of money on keywords that aren't good for you. But it does mean you're always going to be able to show up in that sponsored products related to this item on someone else's product page, which you will probably find that you'll get a lot of sales from. So that's super important. Continue to run those as you go, as long as they're profitable for you, of course. Cool, so how much to spend a day? And just, if you have any questions about any of this, please just leave a comment and I will answer them. How much to spend a day? When you start, it depends on your actual approach. So if you have a lot of money to spend on your launch, then you start at £10, £15, £30. You can even go up to £100. Just bear in mind that you're probably not going to get that money back when you are launching the product. A product launch is to boost your sales so you can rank on Amazon. That's what it's for. So just bear in mind that's an advertising cost. If you have enough money to spend a lot of money on PPC at the beginning, then do it, because you're going to rank then organically so you can spend less on PPC. But this really depends on the person. Whatever you do, just don't go in and spend £200 or £100 a day on your auto campaign on day one and expect results. Don't expect sales. You will get a few, but don't expect them, and certainly don't expect to make your money back if you're spending that amount. If you want to kind of dip your toes in the water, just do £5 to £10 a day on your auto campaign, see what it comes up with, and then eventually, as you gain more momentum, as you gain more information on your keywords, you can then carry on doing that. But this is really down to the person, down to the product, down to the competition. If you're doing any other launches in terms of giveaways, then this is going to be very, very different between different people. But Amazon will spend your money if you tell them to spend it. If you put on a £300 budget, they'll spend your £300 as much as they can. They want you to spend it. They want you to make sales, but they don't know quite what to spend on yet. So at the beginning, just be very cautious and build up to the point where you can scale your advert. So if there are any questions about any of this, just leave them down below, leave them in the comments, like this video if you liked it, and of course there are a few ways you can reach out and ways you can get better support. So if you have enjoyed that, good. And if you want to know more, or if you have any questions, you can of course leave them down below. Email me, info@jonnybradley.com. I read every single email, get back to every single person, every single comment, every single DM. So make sure you do reach out if you have any questions. You have my free Amazon FBA group, Facebook group, that will be linked in the description. You can join that, it's free to do so. And yeah, loads of support going on in there. We've got about just over 2,000 members in the top one, and then about 700, 800 in the second one. So really, really valuable groups for FBA sellers. The last thing is, of course, I have, first thing in the description, my full Amazon FBA course, which goes through absolutely everything start to finish, from really understanding what Amazon is to the point where you're launching multiple products, you're ungated in all the categories, and you're just a fantastic Amazon seller. So that's the end-to-end process if you do want to jump in and learn it and get a bit of a shortcut to all this information, because sometimes finding all the information in one place is quite hard. So this does it basically for you. That's the first link in the description. Guys, good luck with your own launch. If you have any questions, reach out. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you again tomorrow. Bye-bye.